Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you've been here before,
You're wrong.
if you haven't been here before, this is Ash. He doesn't help. Short intro today, 2016 Chevrolet Cruze, halogen to HID conversion, not LED, HID. Let's get it done. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with HID. What HID are is instead of a filament in the bulb or an LED, we have a plasma ball right in the middle there. And these are AC, so it converts DC voltage to AC voltage, and there's gas inside there, and it ignites the gas and it turns into plasma, and that's what gives you these bright white lights. I decided to go with this kit here, and this is a 6000K kit for the lighting. Pretty standard kit. I've put these on before. So we have our ballasts, our CAN bus connector, and this other whatever that is. Pretty straightforward instructions. Looks really simple. We only got 2 steps. I think it sounds pretty easy. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to just mock up the lights. We're going to put the bulbs in, plug everything in first, make sure it works. And after that, then we'll drill our holes in the back of our light covers, and we'll call it done, I think. It's going to be fairly quick. Let's see what happens. So this is the year of Cruze that has this 2 generations of Cruze. We've got the first generation, and then we have this second generation Cruze. This is a Cruze Premier, so it has the up-level headlamps and the projector beams right here. As you can see, those are projector beams. So that's why I decided, thank you, Ash. That's why I decided not to go with LEDs, because you might be asking yourself, dude, LEDs, they're so simple. They're just plug and play, and HIDs, you know, they can have issues and stuff like that. Well, I've done a lot of research, and apparently with these projector beams, and not only apparently, my experience on my Avalanche when I replaced those headlights, is that LED bulbs just don't have that 360 lighting on a lot of them that you actually need for these projector beams. So you tend to get a more dispersed pattern, and they're just not good. So this being a model with the projector beams and the little gate for the high beams, I think the HID was probably the better idea. I'll tell you, these halogen lights at night, if it's raining,
they suck.
They're horrible. So I think this is going to be a pretty easy install. If we take a look on the passenger side here, all I think I'm going to have to do, the access is right here. So all I think I'm going to have to do to be able to get my hand in there is possibly just take the air filter inlet housing here, pop that off, and then on this side here again, easily accessible here if you don't have big mitts. We're just going to remove the actual tube here for the windshield washer fluid and just hope it's not filled into the tube so we make a mess. But this pops off easily, this pops off easily, and I think we're going to have enough room to get our hands in there. So like I said, we're just going to start with popping the bulbs in and plugging everything in really quickly just to make sure it works properly. And then we can worry about the mounting the ballast and finding somewhere to put it, because that's the hard part, I think. All right, I just threw on a couple rubber gloves because there's lots of undercoating in this car. So I think we're going to start by just removing, here, I'm going to get the block heater cord out of the way here. Now, if I recall, this thing was a real pain in the butt to get back on once I had it off that one time. So let's see how this goes in again. Oh, that came off really well. Oh, it's more of a pain in the butt to get on, I guess. So that was pretty easy. So now we see we have access right into here. Over here is the cap. So we just spin the cap off and it goes counterclockwise. It might be a little stiff. So there is that's our cap, and we might have to drill a hole in this later on. And we have access to our bulb right here. And the bulb comes out. And there's our headlight bulb. HB3. Interesting. All right, so now we're going to be extremely cautious putting this bulb in. And the reason for that is I don't want to get any finger oil or oil on there. So while I'm plugging this in, I'm just going to leave all of this. I'm going to leave this little cap on there for now. We will just plug this in too. So it's pretty simple. It's got the headlight connector here. And hopefully we don't have reverse polarity. And if we do, we'll talk about that if we do. But let's plug this in. All right, the fit is really nice. We'll make sure these are sticking out. Again, we're just going to be doing a quick test. This is not going to be a permanent install. We want to make sure everything works properly first. Now we can go ahead and remove the bulb from the container. Whoever invented these containers is genius. All right, so we have our 3 pins. Again, making sure not to touch the bulb anywhere we don't have to. Slide the bulb into the housing. And then we turn and lock the bulb. So now I have this stuff sticking out, ready to go. And these are going to plug into the actual ballast and the CAN bus. So, passenger side, done. All right, driver side. We have the container or the cap for the windshield washer fluid filler. The cap and the actual tube. Now apparently, this will just pull out of there. I am not sure about that because I know it's held in with a rubber grommet. So let's see how that works without breaking anything. So there's little push clips at the bottom, or little push tabs. So I'm going to push those in. I take my sweater off. This is not going good. All right, let's try this again. Just kidding. Well, the one side is coming up really easily. The other side is not cooperating very well. All right, we got the 2 clips popped off. Now we'll see if we can wiggle that out of there. Oh, that just pops out, and there's just a couple of rings. So the trickiest part there was on this side here. There was a little clip I had to push in, but that actually went really well, and you can see the other side. So we're gonna make sure that's cleaned up before I put it back. And now I have access to this headlight. So again, we're going to do the same thing. Remove this cap, that aside, get our bulb out of there. Even with halogen bulbs, you don't want to get your finger oil or any kind of grease or oil on them. It will shorten the life of the bulb because it creates hot spots. And in case we have to put these in, we're going to be very careful, and we're going to put these aside where you don't get ruined. All right, so we'll just repeat the process that we did on the other side, plugging in the harness first. All right, we are locked in. Our connectors are free. Next, we're going to plug in the ballasts. All right, so that's all plugged in. We'll plug in the other one. I won't show you that, I'm just plugging it in, right? Okay, you twisted my arm, I'll show you. But now that we're all plugged in, I say we give it a shot and turn it on and see what happens. I forgot to show you guys what I did first with the car in the position it is. This is the light line. So this is the line where it's dark up on top. And then I marked where the actual intensity of the beam, or the correlation of the actual beam is. Again, I did the same over here. This is the line here, so it's all bright down below and dark up on top. And this was the actual bright spot for the lights. So I'm gonna turn the camera around, let's face it towards the car. You guys get to see them come on for the very first time.
Uh-oh.
First order of business, passenger side not working. Let's check all of our connections and make sure that's okay. Good news, turns out it's my fault. The manufacturer actually has the plugins for the plug that comes off of the light. And in case your vehicle has reverse polarity, it appears you can flip the plug around on either side so that you're not stuck taking pins out of your existing factory harness. And all I did is I pulled it out, flipped it around, plugged it back in, and voila. Voici. So here's what I really like about the HIDs. You're going to notice they take 10 to 15 seconds to warm up, which is absolutely normal for these bulbs. They do need to warm up and so that they give off their highest discharge. This is a 6000K version, so it's a nice white light. I didn't go into the blue range because that's not where we want. But the nice thing about it is it appears that my spot is still in the same section where I'm not blinding traffic on this side here. That's where we want the brightest spot here. And then on this side, this spot also appears to be maybe the brightest anywhere from here, which is great. And the really nice thing about these HIDs is that you don't need high beam, low beam bulb because this is one bulb for both. So the headlights have shutters. So when you put your high beams on, you can hear the shutters clicking. So we notice now, I'd never marked the high beams before, but man, like this is going to be super bright. I'm super pumped. I think these are going to make a huge difference at night, and I'm anxious to get, to try them out. So now what we got to do is we got to go through the wiring. We're going to get that wiring all done and figure out a place to put the actual drivers, or the HID drivers. Now that we know that everything works, find a place for all that stuff, cut our holes through the back of those caps so we could run the wires through, and we are good. So I'll show you that when I'm all done. So here's the part that's a little scary, is drilling a 7/8 hole. So what I've done is I've taken my step bit, and you can use a hole saw, and I've just marked the 7/8 line. And all we have to do is grab the cap that covers the back of the headlight, because there's a grommet that comes with this kit, and the grommet's going to sit in here to keep it watertight. So I think I'm going to go probably, there's a vent on the bottom, so I'm just going to go probably smack dab in the middle, right here. And that's how easy those step bits cut through plastic. Expensive, yes. Useful, yes. Worth the money? Oh, big time. Super easy. Now that grommet should fit in there, because the instructions say to use a 7/8 bit or a 1-inch bit. If the grommet doesn't fit properly, then I'll use a 1-inch. Okay, so we got that one through, and then we have to get those two through, like so, and then we can pull our wires up like so, and then we're going to seat our grommet. Theoretically we're going to seat our grommet into this 1-inch hole. Like that. So now we have a seal on the outside, and we should have a seal on the inside. Now we can go ahead and try and get this mess back in there and then lock it down. So I'm not going to show you that because it's just plugging stuff in. So that's how you drill the hole through your caps. All right, so I tried my best to make a clean, professional looking install. I'm not going to lie. It took longer to find somewhere to put these two ballasts than it did to take the bulbs out and put them in. And those spin-on caps on the back, they're a real pain in the butt with those wires in there as well, but we got them in. It's a tight fit. I got everything back in. I got the windshield washer fluid thingy back in. I got the air intake vent back in. And let me show you where I put these guys. So I ended up mounting them in two separate locations. This one here I ended up mounting just above the headlight on the actual rad support here. I used the screw for the headlight and the bracket that came with the ballast. Tie strapped the CAN bus piece over here and some wires to the actual tie bar here, the front tie bar. And then on the driver's side, I was not able to tie it here. Merely the fact that I don't want to be pouring windshield washer fluid all over the actual ballast. So I was able to fit the ballast on the rad support over here, again with the bracket. No bolt this time, I was just able to tie strap it in there. And my wires are nice and run. And you can see inside there, that's where the wires come out of the hole that I made in the cap. I'm going to run a bead of silicone on the front there. And I'm going to run another one on this side over here. Right there, because those grommets, where I drilled the hole, I drilled it stupidly right behind the actual headlamp or the actual bulb. So that's a pretty tight fit now. And that grommet just does not want to sit in there. So do I have any big concerns? No, I think it's all going to work out. I have clearance when I close the hood. I made sure of that. The only thing I should have made sure of was the bulb placement. I should have made sure of that, but hey, first time doing it, let me make the mistake so you guys don't. I'm pretty happy with this. When it gets dark outside, I'm going to go test it. And let me show you the light pattern on the wall over here. Just close this up and get the hood closed and I'll get the lights on. All right, so here we go. We're going to light them up. And again, they start off dim and they increase in brightness. And you didn't notice it too much right now because I just had them on probably 15 seconds ago. So if we look, I'm very pleased with the light pattern. You can see the tape that I put down on my bench, and now the car hasn't moved, and you can still see that the spot, or the bright spot right here, is right where my piece of tape was. So I'm happy with that, and the bleed line seems very good. Not too much light bleeding over on that driver's side, so no adjustment needed. And then again, same thing on this side. We have the bright spot over here, which is just off to the side of the car, which is perfect with my other line there, and the bleed off above that line is perfect. So I think we have a successful install, and I really like the color of these. Now on the video here they look kind of bluish, but I'm thinking that's the LEDs that are below it. The actual bulbs themselves are 6000K, and I am pretty pleased with this kit. So there you have it, guys. HID bulb install on a 2016 Chevrolet Cruze Premier. Very straightforward. Lucky enough that these were easy access on this car. So I really hope this helped you. If you have yourself a Cruze, I imagine that the process is going to be similar, if not the same, for a lot of other vehicles. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. Those are some nice lights.